Let's take down some tournaments on DraftKings. It is GPP strategy for UFC Vegas 109. Your main event is Dolidze versus Hernandez. Hit the like button, and we have a lot of decisions to make this week. I'm going to use a DFS Army Domination Station. Video applies to all tools out there. I know people use a bunch. If you want to check out DFS Army, there's tools, ownership rankings, all the good stuff. Link in the description. Check that out. Join up at DFS Army. But really, as long as you have ownership projections, and projections obviously in a tool to build lineups, I think you'll get some value out of this discussion here. A lot of decisions to make, as I said in the open, because your mid-range fight is Brundage Mechanico, which is minus 170 for Brundage. That is usually your mid-range fight, you get a couple pick'ems, not so much this week. And a lot of fights that are looking to end inside the distance. I'm going to go fight by fight here. It's a little bit similar to the fight breakdown show I did, but it's not talking so much about the fight. We're just going to go under and overweight and start building lineups. The first thing we got to do is knock out your general settings, and this is, I think people put too much into this. You can go anywhere between 49.2 and 49.4 is your minimum. I'm going to go 49.4. We're building for 150 lineups. I'm going to go tournament mode. I'm going to go one unique. You can go one or two. I like one. And your randomization anywhere between a 2 and 10%, just so you're not getting the optimal numbers. I'm going to go, let's plug in 5 this week for my randomization. And that's pretty much it. And then we can start building from there. Euros, Medic, and Urbina. This fight is one of the best GPP fights to target on the card. Under 1.5 is minus 154. The winner of this fight is probably ending up on the optimal. This is a fight I am pretty much going to be all bucking in on. So while I'm picking Medic, I want to make sure I am still overweight to Urbina. It's 26%. I can probably go 35-65 here. This is a stand I'm going to take. There's a few stanchions to take on every card. This is what I'm going to take. I'm going to be all in here. Hernandez and Stolyarenko. This is a weird one because Stolyarenko, I think, is live. Both sides, like the finish potential is here under 2.5 rounds, minus 175, minus 235 to end inside the distance. For me, the main point here is I don't want to get beat by Hernandez, so I'm going to put field. And I actually want a little bit of leverage on Stolyarenko. I think she's more live than 17%. I'm going to go 25%, and we'll start seeing what the optimizer gives us here. Rodriguez, Feely. This is one I am really not feeling. I want to be underweight to Andre Feely. I think he's going to have a hard time hitting the optimal even in a win. I'm going to cap this at half his ownership. You can go even lower than this if you wanted to. I'll cap it at 9. I'm not going to touch Christian Rodriguez here because I'm pretty lukewarm in how I want to approach this. I don't want to over-restrict my domination station too much. Ursig and Osborne. This is one where a similar situation. There's a couple dogs I really think are live. I'm going to cap Osborne at half ownership as well at 7%. Steve Ursig is a little bit hard to get in the lineups. I don't want to lose to him, though. So I'm going to make sure I get at least 20%, and we'll start playing around from there. Brundage Mechanico. Brundage is 39%. Mechanico is 12%. This is rough because of the price and the upside. You know, Brundage's got a really healthy inside the distance prop. I think I want to vanilla Cody Brundage up in that I don't want to get beat by him. So I'm going to play near field 35 minimum. I don't want to go all in on Cody Brundage. That feels a bit much. I'm going to cap him at 10% leverage. I want somewhere in this 35 to 50 range. If you like Brundage more, go ahead and play him more. Brundage is so untrustworthy, and this is a high variance fight that even though the odds value is not there, 12% on Eric Mechanico, that feels too low. I want to get at least that 12%. I am going to cap him at 20. I'm getting about between 50 and 70% of this fight. I'm just really specific with how I want to play this matchup. You can't do this for every fight because you'll start really over-constricting your options. You kind of do a base first run the optimizer, make adjustments. John Matsumoto, I want to be underweight to Matsumoto. I don't like 24% here at all. a little bit of a stand, and I'm going to be overweight on Miles Johns. I think he's got sneaky upside. I want to be doubles Miles Johns. If I can get 20% Miles Johns and be crushing the field, that's all it takes. Fine. Elijah Smith. This is a weird one. This 9K range is hard because there's so many guys you want to fit in. So how I'm going to approach this in my first run is I'm just going to super limit Toshiomo Kazama like 5%, and I might even cut this further down. I'm not going to touch Elijah Smith. I'm going to see what our first run does. When we come to Lucindo and Smith, I'm going to leave this. Again, I don't want to over restrict. I'd be happy with about field weight 17, 12. Maybe a little over on Lucindo, under on Smith is what I'm eyeballing, but I'm going to let the first run happen here. Anthony Hernandez, 56%. I like him a lot. 8,700. I don't want to lose leverage here, so I'm going to roll. I want at least 50% Anthony Hernandez. Dolidze, I'm lower than the most people. I want to get leverage in the field in this fight and being underweight to Dolidze. If you like Dolidze, go ahead and bump this up. But it's kind of going through your strategy here for your first setup. Christian Leroy Duncan, 9%. I'm not going to touch this. I think that's about right. I want to make sure the optimizer doesn't slam him in. In fact, I know I don't want more than 20% is even too much. I want to be on the Anders side of this. I want leverage on Anders, who's 22% ownership. So I'll start it at 30% and see what we work with here. Walker and Cerquera. Cerquera, one of the worst fighters on the roster. High variance spot here, though, in just a weird type of fight. This is a lot of ownership for just a terrible fighter. Numbers-wise, in terms of inside the distance, all that stuff, this is about right. I'm taking a stand, and I'm just going to limit this. Edwards and Cachoeira, the winner of this fight ends up on the optimal a lot. I'm not going to touch Edwards. 38% feels high, but I want, but the price is pretty good. I want double the field on Cachoeira at 20%, and we'll kind of see what works out here. So we'll do our first run, and we'll make adjustments. Get a quick sip. Do me a favor, hit the like button while we are running. And we have our first go around here. 90% Anthony Hernandez. That's a really strong stand. I don't hate it personally. I'm not going to mess with this yet. It's a very strong, very aggressive stand. You know, in GPP, we have the ownership rankings go a little above, a little below. You got to take a few stands on a card. That's a lot. 60% Eric Anders is too much. Even if I like him in the spot, 7,000. I'm going to lower him to 40%. It's double the field. I think that's plenty. I'm willing to bump this to 45, but we'll start with 40 here in our first run. Reason being, yeah, it's already struggling to get in as much Medich as I want. Reason I'm doing this is even this fight goes to decision, which is favored to, and no other dogs win on a very lopsided type of card in terms of odds. He could get there. Anders could hit the optimal in a loss. You know, not what you want to be banking on, but it's worth mentioning. Brundage, right, a little bit more than I want, but again, in that mid-range, I'm not going to hate it. Elijah Smith is fine. Leverage on Walker. Field on Fernandez is good. So I didn't get enough of this Medich and Urbina. It gave me 90% of this fight. The way this card is shaking out, the stand I'm going to take here is I'm going to go all in this fight. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a rule. Go to player groupings. I want between, exactly one and one of, I could spell, that would be good, of Medich and Urbina. In all lineups, add the rule. So now I'll get, no matter what, I'll get at least one of them. Double the field of Miles Johns is struggling to get me there. All right, I made some other adjustments here. I'm going to run before I start changing too much. Give me like no Roman Dolidze. I'm a little surprised it's this low. But again, stand, I'm okay with. Run again, take 2. A little bit less on Hernandez. I got up there on Medic this time. 50% Brundage. Anders is at the max. Getting a field on Smith. Over on Arbina. Little under on Walker. Don't love it, but he's the most expensive fighter on the card. It's fine. Field on Hernandez. Leverage on Stolyarenko. Under on Jocelyn, which I'm okay with because I'm kind of taking a stand on the Priscilla side of that fight. Double the field on Priscilla is fine. Double the field on Johns is good. Ursig field is not my favorite. Wish it was a little higher, but you can't get all the 9K fighters in. A little under on Rodriguez. Little over on Hill. Field on Makanico. Under on Matsumoto. Under on Lucindo. I wish I was over on Lucindo. This is my one hiccup here is Lucindo. And then I'm under on Hill, Dolidze, Osborne, Sequeira, Toshiomi Kazama. This is the one thing I'm wish I had a little more, but do I really have to look at here before we run it again? Is that if I try and force in Lucindo, who is it going to take out? It's going to take me off of Brundage. I don't have a lot of Rodriguez. I don't have a lot of Matsumoto. I'm already at 11%. Still, I don't think I want to be underweight on Lucindo. So let's try and put in 20% and see what I get in this next run. And it's a process, kind of tweaking around. You need to make sure you get what you want. And remember, this is my strategy this week. I'm going to be very over on Fluffy Hernandez. If you don't like him this week, it's a chance I'm taking. If you don't like him, go ahead. Feel free to bump this down, bump up Dolidze. Your builds probably get a little bit easier, but I would recommend if you do that to take another stand somewhere else. Be aggressive somewhere. Over on Brundage, over on Medic, over on Arbina, field-ish on Smith, field on Walker, field on Fernandez. See, I'm ending up with a lot of field because I took a stand on Fluffy. Over on Johns, over on Priscilla, field on Ursig. There's my over on Lucindo, under on Rodriguez, field on Hill, field on Makanico, under on Matsumoto, under on Feely, under on Osborne, way under stand on Dolidze, under on Sequeira, under on Kazama, way under on Christian Leroy Duncan. I think I like it. 24 fighters used. I didn't full fade anybody, though I basically full faded. Got one lineup with Leroy Duncan in it. If he knocks out Anders, I'm going to take a loss. But those are my exposures this week. This is what I'm looking at and who I want to go over and under for. And I'll walk through how to use your optimizer tool. It's not so much about picking your favorite fighters. It's about picking your favorite fighters in spots, yes, but in relation to the ownership you are expecting in the contests you are playing. Have any questions, got any comments, drop a comment down below, smash the like button. Good luck. I want to see the DFS Army helmets at the top of the leaderboard, but regardless, if you're watching the video, I am rooting for you. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.